left side போங்க. பேசுங்க. அதுதான் கரெக்ட். ஓகே.
ரெக்கார்டிங் அப்புறம் அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா ரெக்கார்டிங் ஆகும். மேம் அதே கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர்
ஸ்டார்ட் தி வீடியோ பண்ணு.
ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் இப்ப வேண்டாம், நம்ம பண்ண போறது இல்லையா, அவர் தானே பண்ண போறாருல்ல. ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Recording, you can start.
I think we need to ask everybody to switch off the mics.
Yeah. No.
Please stay responsible and at your own risk.
I think, shall we start? It's time up. Giri sir, okay, we can start.
Yes, I think you should. I guess.
So we can start.
You can see the screen, sir.
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon, all. Welcome to this industry awareness session from Consultants Consortium of Chennai. Basically, this is an awareness session on how to identify the authenticity of the various certificates that are issued for all the management systems, the ISO standards. So, before I introduce the speakers, I would like to just briefly run through the CCC profile. We are basically registered under the Tamil Nadu Societies Act as an association, and we are called Consultants Consortium of Chennai. Basically, this platform is for all the management system consultants and not only just the ISO consultant, but other allied consultants like business consultants. Then you have accreditation board, various people from different domains. You are a sector-specific consultants with experience, skill, and competencies. Our objective is to promote quality as a part of national quality mission, and we would like to educate the industry on various aspects of quality and promote various standards, management system standards that are needed for the businesses across various industry sectors. And, it's a representative voice of the management system consulting community. Focus on knowledge dissemination to the industry on all the standards, certifications, accreditations, inspection, regulations. We constantly update on the changes that are being on the standards. It's our brief profile. Now for this first session, I would like to introduce first session is Shobha Hegde. I will just run through that.
Excuse me, sir. The voice is not clear.
All of you can hear me? Is it okay? No?
It's okay now.
Mrs. Shobha Hegde is an assessor of NABCB and NABL, on international conformity assessment expert. And she is a postgraduate in chemistry with 4 decades of experience in conformity assessment, product certification, laboratory management, quality management system certifications, accreditation of labs and inspection bodies, and accreditation of operational entities, and accreditation of reference material producers and proficiency test providers. Since 2005, she's a freelance professional associated with 3 accreditation bodies, NABCB, NABL, and UNFCCC. CDM is United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change and Clean Development Mechanism. Also involved in training activities as trainer for conformity assessment accreditation related to various standards. So I welcome Mrs. Shobha Hegde to take over the presentation. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Srikantan. I'm the secretary for CCC. Ma'am, share I screen share your presentation, ma'am?
Yeah.
You will run through.
I think it will be better if I run.
Okay, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Get out.
I request all participants to mute your mic, please.
I think you can run just I'm not able to figure out what do I do. Exit full screen. Just a minute.
I'll do that, ma'am. Don't.
It's okay. Because I'm using Zoom after a little time.
No problem. Can you see the screen, ma'am? Sorry.
Yeah, I am able to see the screen. Let me just open my presentation. Share the screen.
Can you see the screen, ma'am?
Yeah, you have you're showing the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see the presentation now.
Oh, she is doing okay.
Yeah. You can see the presentation?
Yeah.
My presentation is on obligation of certification bodies to its clients. So this is an industry awareness session where predominantly the audience is going to be. Pardon? I'm
Others,
audible?
everybody needs to switch off his mic. We can see some background noise.
Okay.
Yeah, Shobha, go on. You go on.
Yeah.
please.
Go ahead, ma'am. I've done it.
Fine. So in an industry awareness session, we expect largely the audience from the industry. So what we want to do in this presentation is that if you go to a certification body to get yourself certified, then what do you expect from a certification body? That means what are the obligations of the certification body to its clients? In our experience, when we had interaction with the industry, we realized many of them do not know what to expect from certification body. Like, I mean, we were really surprised to see certification body does not share anything with them, nor the report, nor the non-conformities, etc. So you need to know as a client of a certification body what to expect. So this session is devoted to taking you through that. Now, before doing that, I'd like to share some definitions with you because definitions generally bring in clarity. Now, ISO 17000 2020 version, which is the latest version of the standard, it is conformity assessment, vocabulary, and general principles. So it's a useful standard actually for everybody go through, I mean, as applicable. So I picked up definitions from there. Now, the first definition is what is certification? The definition is third-party attestation related to an object of conformity assessment with the exception of accreditation. Now, this may sound a little, just a few words put together. So I'll just decipher it out for you. Now, exception of accreditation, that means certification, accreditation is different from certification. So that is what first you need to understand. Most important here is it is third party. Certification by definition is third party activity. That means somebody who's not related to you is going to certify you, so that the certification is done in a very impartial manner. Attestation. What is attestation? Again, a definition is given in the standard itself. Issue of a statement based on a decision that fulfillment of specified requirements has been demonstrated. That means if the requirements, you are certified against ISO 9001, then the specified requirements are stated in ISO 9001. You have fulfilled those requirements. This is going to be certified. So you will receive a certificate in the form what is called as attestation from the certification body, stating that you have fulfilled the requirements specified in ISO 9001, whatever version was certified, and successfully demonstrated. So you will receive a certificate stating that. Plus, certification is normally for a scope. That means you are an industry which is manufacturing chemicals, maybe dyes and dye stuff, and your organization has been verified as having fulfilled ISO 9001 requirements for dye and dye stuff industry. So your scope will state that. So that is, it's not an open certificate to be used by tomorrow you open another division which has some very different type of products being manufactured, then that certificate will not automatically be applicable there. That will have to be added to your scope. So this is the second definition, attestation. The third definition, which very often nowadays we use the word conformity assessment. Now, conformity assessment, if you saw, there is a word here, object of conformity assessment. Now, let us understand what is object of conformity assessment. Object of conformity assessment is entity to which specified requirements apply. So if you have established system as per ISO 9001, that means your system, which is supposed to be as per 9001, that is what is the object. Your system as per 9001 is the object of conformity assessment. And what is conformity assessment? It is demonstration that specified requirements have been fulfilled. Anyone who verifies this is called conformity assessment body. So certification body is a type of conformity assessment. So actually, if you carefully look at all these definitions, that will tell what exactly is going to happen when you apply to a conformity assessment body or a certification body for certification. They will assess fulfillment of your management system, quality management system to ISO 9001 requirements. And then based on their audit, and this will be done through an audit, based on the audit, they will issue you a certificate clearly stating which standard has been against which your system has been verified and for what scope. So all these definitions actually tell that if you approach a certification body, they will do the process of conformity assessment through an audit and then give you a certificate. So that is what the first thing that you expect from a certification body. Now, there are different types of certification bodies. Just a quick definition. System certification is actually certification against management system standards, like ISO 9001, ISO 14001 for environment management system, OHS MS, that is 18001, ISO 22000, food safety management system, so on and so forth. So energy management system, information services management system. So this number actually is growing. Almost every year, one more standard is being added in the ISO committee. So this number goes on adding. You can actually establish systems as per those standards and approach certification body for various certificates.
There's a guy called Hari.
Pardon?
Good.
Toba, go
Everybody
on. Somebody is disturbing.
Yeah,
You just go on.
actually, people should mute. Otherwise, I feel like I'm being asked a question. Anyway, questions reserved for the end. So, well, there is another type of certification which is called product certification. That means product process services that an organization is producing can be certified against a product process or service standard. Then there is another very popular field today is personal certification. That means a person can be certified for having fulfilled requirements of some personal certification standard and a scheme. So, but today's focus is going to be system certification and largely ISO 9001 certification. Okay, let us understand. I'll again take you through benefits of certification. I'm sure all of you have been told about these benefits. You have yourself experienced them, but just let me take you through that. Now, the certification is generally against an ISO standard. That means it's a globally recognized standard. So if you say ISO 9001, I'm certified against ISO 9001 standard, everybody around the world recognizes what are you certified for? Improved customer retention and acquisition. See, you can have your own system. You can claim certificate. You can claim that your systems are as per a standard, but then it is your claim alone. But if you get certified, that means a third party has attested you. That would actually bring in more customer. You will have better customer retention. I'm sure you're aware of this advantage. Now, mitigation of business risk. Today's all management system standards are risk-based. That means you identify your risk and the high risk areas you need to focus on. So in a way, it would mitigate indirectly a business risk. Exceed customer requirement. Now, say, for example, quality management system standard has an objective that system should meet customer requirements and regulatory requirements. So you will need to identify customer requirements. So in identifying customer requirements, you have possibility of exceeding them. You find out what is going to delight a customer and see that your systems are here to meet those customer requirements. Improve business processes. Internally, it gives a lot of benefits. That means it improves your business processes because you're going to have a look at all your processes, see how to optimize them, make them more efficient. And then that is what the system is supposed to do for you. Better internal management. Again, when you do something to a system, that means it will improve consistency. It will improve better internal management. Less wastages, better utilization of resources. Again, systems are supposed to give you that because you will keep evaluating your systems to see whether they're meeting your objectives, and objectives would be something like this: better utilization. Increase in efficiency, productivity, and profit. Indirect, I mean, if you do a good system, you implement a good system, it will also give you productivity, profit. Consistent outcomes. I have already explained to you, when you do something to a system, it will likely to give you consistent outcomes. Ensure compliance to regulatory requirements. Since this is an objective of most of the management system standards, regulatory requirements with respect to, say, product, you will need to ensure that you have systems to comply with them when you implement ISO 9001. So it would actually ensure and give you confidence that you will be able to ensure regulatory compliance to regulatory requirements, which is actually an obligation for any organization which is relevant regulatory requirements to. Now, these are benefits of certification. In fact, you must, those of you who are certified should relook at all that has happened since you implemented the system, management system, and got certified. Does it give you all these benefits? If it does not give you, then maybe you need to really think over why it is not meeting you. Because your implementation of process and you're getting certified together, it is going to give you all these benefits. So if it does not, maybe something is wrong also with certification. That means you are not getting proper input from the certification body to see that you are fulfilling all the requirements of the standard that you have implemented. So please relook into these benefits, because many of the organizations do not get the benefits and they simply go for certification to get a certificate. But that's not the ultimate aim of certification. Now let's see how you the further chapters can help you choose a proper certification body which will give you benefits, many of these benefits. Okay, now it's very important to understand whose responsibility is what. That means, as a client of a certification body, what are your responsibilities? The client and not the certification body has the responsibility for consistently achieving the intended result of implementation of the management system. Now it is your responsibility. It's not a certification body's responsibility. You have to have a system which helps you consistently achieve results.
Shobha, you're muted. Shobha, you got muted.
It's automatically happening.
Sorry. Nice.
Okay, so this is your responsibility. Okay. You can set up a system on your own. If you feel the help of a consultant, do that. But it's primarily not consultant's responsibility. It is your responsibility, not certification body. It's your responsibility. Now, let us see what is the responsibility of a certification body. Next. Am I? What happened?
Are you not sharing the screen, Shobha, yourself?
I
She's
think-
only doing. I think you are only doing that.
No, but it's not moving.
Ah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Okay. What is certification body's responsibility? Certification body is responsible to assess sufficient objective evidence of yours, I mean your systems, upon which to base a certification decision. That means, is the fulfillment of requirements, I mean, is observed or not? For coming to this conclusion, certification body has to assess sufficient objective evidence. That means it has to have a look at your processes, your systems, your objective records to be able to see that, okay, I can now, based on this objective evidence, say that you have fulfilled the requirements of ISO 9001. So this is the requirement responsibility of the certification body. So based on audit conclusions, it makes a decision to grant certification and not to grant certification if it does not get confidence after verification of sufficient evidence of conformity. So sometimes if it verifies some objective evidence and does not get that confidence, it may expand the size of the sample. Now, all of us, I think by now understand that audit is not 100% verification. It does not have a look at 100% all your systems and records. So it is based on an audit sample within the organization's within your management system. So there is no guarantee of 100% conformity with the requirement. This is something which people, everyone who gets certified and who uses this certification have to understand. It's a sample base, but then the better the certification body, better choice of sample it will do. In today's world, we also talk about risk-based sampling. So the sample will have to be chosen based on risks that exist to you as an organization. So if a particular process of a client is more risky, then certification body needs to focus more on that. So that's how they will need to do a sample. So the onus of sampling is theirs. So see, for example, now audit takes time. It will take 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Okay. Now, as a client, you may say, okay, do it as quickly as possible. Okay. I will only give you 1 day or things like that. Please do complete it in 1 day. Now, if a certification body, it will not, it will have its own system of estimating audit mandates. But if it actually complies with the client's request, then it will end up looking at small samples. So small sample means its decision will not be based on a very good objective evidence. I mean, good sample of objective evidence, and that decision may be wrong. So it may so happen you may be certified, yet your client is not, your customer is not satisfied because he is getting continuously getting non-conforming products. So it's important that certification body understands this responsibility. Also, you understand that the certification body needs to do it and give it all cooperation to it. Now, having understood the responsibility, let's go over to what is obligations of a CV. It has to conduct the certificate. It has to have a certification process, okay, which will include looking at a sample of evidence. Now, there are certain international standards which tell certification bodies how to run their business, how to do the audit, how to do the certification. Now, for management system certification, this standard is called ISO 17021 Part 1. So the certification bodies have to comply with this to be able to do a good certification. So you should insist on a body which complies with this, and it is able to demonstrate that compliance to you through an accreditation process. So they will be accredited against this standard by an accreditation body. So you should always go for a certification body which has its systems complying with 17,021 part 1 for management system, and it is able to demonstrate that compliance through accreditation. That's number one. That's an obligation of a certification body. Now, when it implements this standard, one of the objectives of the standard is the certification body should be competent for what it does. That means it must be competent to be able to issue you a certificate after verifying fulfillment of your systems to the standard against which you have made your systems, ISO 9001. So the competence is the entire actually certification process. It is the competence of the body to carry out the whole certification process. Of course, major chunk of that competence come from the auditors that it employs. So the auditor must be aware of the type of organization you are, type of processes you produce, products, processes you produce, type of processes you have. So if they are competent, then they'll be able to do a good audit of your organization. So the certification will be based on good objective evidence. So certification can be relied on. So that's the concept of competence, that a certification body that you engage must be competent to do that job. It must maintain transparency and openness. Audit is not an inspection. That means somebody lands up in your organization unannounced and just does some verification here or there, and that's it. That's not what is expected. The audit process must be transparent. You must know exactly at what when the audit will happen, what is going to be done in the audit, etc. It should be an open process. It cannot be that the certification body auditors ask you some questions and at the end of it say, oh, this is not okay, that is not okay. They must have a discussion with you that, yes, this is what I'm finding maybe a gap. Now you have a opportunity of providing them more evidence to be able to show, no, you are actually have a system to comply with the requirements. So it will be a two-way process, open process. Impartiality, very important. It's a certification is a third-party activity, so it needs to be done by an impartial certification body. Certification body should have no relationship with you. So there are a number of requirements given in ISO 17021 that how the impartiality of a certification body is to be met. So that is an obligation certification body should bring to you. Confidentiality, because when it audits you, it will be privy to some of your confidential processes, etc. Now, certification body has an obligation to you that will maintain confidentiality of whatever the body has seen or received information of during the process of certification. Responsiveness to complaints. Now, certification body should have responsiveness to complaints of its clients. That means you who have been certified by the certification body, if you have a grievance against the certification body, it must be responsive to it and it must try to solve it. Now, also your customers, suppose they have a grievance against you, that means they are not happy with the product, processes, etc. that you have supplied to them, and then they need to go somewhere else because you are certified by an independent body. They can go to the certification body. And the certification body has a responsiveness to those kind of clients, complaints also. No doubt, primary responsibility for handling complaints of your clients is you, but a certification body can look at your processes, whether you have handled the complaints properly or not. Risk-based approach. This is the latest addition to the standard. All that is to be done is based on risk. So the certification body, this thing, risk-based approach, which a certification body will obligation that it will have towards you is, it needs to do a sampling based on risk, so that your business risks are, any problems with those come forth to you. Suppose you are a pharmaceutical industry. Now, they are high-risk products. So product compliance is a risk to you. I mean, if you are certified and your products don't comply and your customers have a complaint, then that's a big risk to you. So that is the risk-based approach CB should also follow, is that it should look at your processes. The risk base may require more focus from the certification body when it is sampling. So I mean, there are other risk-based approaches that certification body follows, but I have told you what refers to you. Now, a little bit about certification process. That means, what should you expect from a certification body? These are all requirements which are actually specified in the standard which the certification body has to comply with. That means ISO 17021 for management system certification. There are other standards for other type of certifications. For example, ISO 17065 for a product certification body. So what certification that you have asked for, it has to comply with that relevant ISO standard. Now, as per that, there has to be a transparent process for application. The certification body will require you to provide it certain information, structured information through application process. That means you will need to tell certification body things like where are you, the generic things like where are you located, suppose you are a multi-site or operating from a single site, and how large is your organization, what are your processes, how many people work in your organization at different time. They may be in a repetitive job, how many, or in standalone jobs, how many, if you have contract persons, how many are there. All that department wise, they will ask you to give you information. This information is required by the certification body to estimate how many man-days audit it must do at you. And this also they have to do as per some documented requirements which are given by which it is obligated to follow. So this is not going to come arbitrarily that, okay, I will do a one-day audit. The client says, no, not more than 1 day, and I will do a one-day audit. It cannot happen like that. So based on information that you supply, it will calculate the man-days. Now you may, as a client, you may think, okay, lesser man-day audit is better for me because otherwise it's too much interference or too many people, etc. But in the long run, it may be actually not good for you, because you will get a certification which you may use elsewhere in your client, etc. But clients still may not be very happy with the products, processes that you supply. So if the certification is short charged, it does not collect the appropriate number of objective evidence to decide whether you are fulfilling the requirements, then indirectly you also may have a problem with that. So this is the certification process. So your obligation is to provide whatever information asked for in a accurate manner. And this is all, it is not doing on its own. It is defined in ISO 17021 what all requirements it must collect at the time of application. Then based on that, it will also quote for you, it will estimate man-days and make you a quote to you based on audit man-days, because that is what is generally certification bodies do. At the same time, the certification body has to check whether it has competence for certifying your processes, your systems. Both in terms of the standard, also both in terms of competence for your specific processes. So based on that, the contract review will happen internally and you will be provided a quote. Now, once you have entered into a contract, preliminary contract for certification, audit planning will happen. So audit planning, based on whatever estimation of man-days is there, it will be decided how many days audit will be done. It will internally decide, do I send 2 people for 3 days or 3 people for 2 days, depending upon its resources, etc. I mean, you may have a say in it, and if possible, they may, when they give you an audit plan, you can have some means of communicating with them if you want some changes. Then they also have to nominate an audit team. Now, typically, audit team must have competence to do that audit. Both generic competence, that means knowledge of the generic standard against which you are going to be certified, ISO 9001. It must have competence for auditing techniques. It must be able to do a good audit, so it must have knowledge about auditing techniques, and it must have competence for your sector. That means if you are a foods industry, then it must have competence for the food sector and for your specific this thing. So typically, an audit team may consist of 2 or more people, unless one person fulfills all the requirement. So, they must have all these 3 competencies. Then only they can do a good look at your systems and get appropriate objective evidences. Now, they also have an obligation to tell you what the audit team will be. They have to tell the names of the persons, and if you want, even their background information. Some, thing can be told right straight away. You can ask for more information about affiliations, etc. A good certification body will tell a lot of information about the audit team. The purpose of this is that you can object to one or more persons with the audit team. You know, sometimes the clients object to a person because that person may have come from an industry which was a competitor to you, or that person, you can even object based on competence. You're not very confident that they understand these processes. You can object, but then certification body has obligation to review your objections, and then if they feel your objections are valid, they are obliged to change the one or more persons from the audit team. Sometimes, if it is not a valid objection, then it is possible that certification body may say, no, we will continue with this, and convince you that there's no harm in having this audit team. Once that is done, it is simultaneously actually an audit plan is also provided to you. Audit plan will have a detail of the activities which will be done in 2 or 3 days, or whatever number of audit days which are decided, and also audit mandate. That is, if there are 2 people, then what the 2 persons in the audit team are going to do individually, assess what they're going to do together. All that will come to you in an audit plan. Now, you can have, suppose there is an overlapping of some activities, audit of some activities, or you only have one person for attending to 2 auditors at the same time. You may ask them to have some changes. So this is also will be a transparent process. You will need to go through the plan and give your concurrence to it. Okay, now actually comes to the conduct of audit. When it comes to conduct of audit, you can expect a lot of things what have been listed out and below. You need to expect a complete openness. That means there is going to be no hidden surprises. That 2 days of audit, the auditor simply note down something, and on the 3rd day hand you a sheet of some large number of non-compliances, major non-compliances. That cannot happen. They need whatever gaps they find, they need to discuss with you, give you opportunity for telling you. Maybe you have some other evidence that you can provide to demonstrate your compliance to the requirement. So typically what happens is, whenever an auditor completes audit of a particular activity, he will tell these are the likely gaps. He may not tell you non-compliances, but may tell you these are the gaps. So typically at the end of an audit mandate, audit day, the audit team has a discussion among itself, and then it also will give you a feedback on whatever happened in that day. feedback, not necessarily non-compliances. They will tell you these are the gaps. You still have the rest of the audit days where you can come back to them saying that these are additional evidences that demonstrate that I'm complying with the requirement. So this is the type of openness that is supposed to be given. And it is obligation of this thing, certification body. It is not going to be a fault finding exercise. The objective of audit is to verify compliance to the standard. That means if you are being audited to ISO 9001, compliance to ISO 9001, verification of that is the obligation of the certification body audit team. Non-compliances are incidental. So when they are verifying compliance, maybe some gaps are observed. When they are assessed against the requirement of the standard or against your systems, gaps are found, then they may be called as non-compliances. That's not the objective. So if an auditor enters one department, because of his experience, he knows, maybe just by going around, he knows, oh, this is not okay, or this is not okay. He simply says, oh, this is not okay, this is not okay, and finishes the audit. That's not complying with the requirements. He needs to verify, go through all processes on a sample basis and verify compliance. Even in sampling, the sampling is generally done in terms of, for example, you have executed 50 orders. Then he will do a sampling of those orders. But process sampling generally does not happen. That means he says your vendor evaluation process, oh, I will not look at that. I am looking at only the process of ordering for in a purchase department. That's not likely to happen. What sampling generally will be, the records that will be sampled. Even if a sampling happens, then it will be covered in the next audit. Because of paucity of time, if it happens, it will get covered in the next audit. So that's the obligation. So at the end of the assessment, you must get a demonstration of compliance. In fact, that all your processes they had seen on a sample basis, and then the compliance is there. So that is the confidence you must get. Non-compliances are incidental. And also, if you do not understand anything that they say, for example, a non-compliance, then it's your obligation. I mean, it is their obligation to make you understand. You please tell them, I don't understand what you are telling, that this is not okay. So please explain to me how, in terms of ISO 9000 requirement, it is not. So that's also an obligation CB has towards you. Opportunities for improvement could be identified. I think most of the CBs also have process of identifying future non-conformities, which today they don't, they're not non-conformities, but there's a chance that if you do the same way, then they could end up in a non-conformity in future, or there are some definite avenues for improvement, then they could be identified without giving you solution. And you expect value addition without giving solution in any audit. I mean, please, this is something you must expect from a certification body. You insist on it. Now, value addition is not giving solutions. Value addition is by doing the type of audit that they do, by asking you the type of questions they ask you, they make you think, look at your processes with a third eye, relook at your processes and understand them better. That is a value addition. Many very experienced auditors, by the way they ask you questions, you will actually start thinking, oh, this is something which if I do, I may get a better process, better result, etc. That is value addition. So expect a thorough audit where everything is being asked and a lot of questions are asked where you need to explain. While explaining only, you may get solutions. So don't expect a solution from, they don't know your processes, they don't know your, your compulsions, your customers, they don't know. So they cannot give you a solution. Don't expect that from them. But value addition, yes. one of the value additions also, which a lot of assessors do it, they explain the standard. These standard against which you get certified, especially management system standards, they are all generic standards. They need to be applied to your processes, your industry. So the value addition that can be given is interpreting the standard appropriately is one value addition which a good auditor can give you. So you can always ask what is the meaning of this, etc. So that is how expect a value addition, and that's an essential part of any audit. Please insist on it.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can we finish in 2-3 minutes?
Okay, I'm fine. I am.
Thank you.
Fine, I'll try to. Okay. Now, if they raise non-conformities, as a part of certification process, there will be a process of clearance of non-conformities. You will be required to do a root cause analysis and then propose correction and corrective action. Many times we see that the clients only do corrections and the certification body accepts it. If that is done, then your system is not going to improve. Unless you do a root cause analysis, look at the causes and then try to remove the causes, that's not okay. So if a certification body accepts your, just fixing up a problem which they have identified, then that certification body is not fulfilling its obligation. Based on clearance of non-conformities and based on your signing of agreement, based on your clearing some fees that you have to pay, certification decision happens and then certificate is issued to you. Certificate must clearly identify the scope of activities, and there are certain guidances how to do that in a management system certification, because there the exact nature of product may not be written. There is a room for little bit expansion of writing where your system is demonstrated to fulfill, go beyond the actual name of the product. Now, then there is some requirement for public information on certification body's website. Now, the more public information is there on the website, actually it is better for you. Certification bodies are very shy of writing full information about the client certified, because they feel that their rivals will steal away. But for you, it is better the more information is available. So please insist on them that you please put the whole, my name, address, the scope of my certification, etc. The next one is use of mark. So there will be some rules which the certification body will tell you, which tell how you use the certification body mark or an accreditation body mark. Some rules will be given to you, and you'll have to sign an agreement which covers the use of mark, and you'll have to follow it. Okay. Now, after the agreement, the whole process is, there are certain documents you are entitled to get a copy. Some time back, when we had done as a part of the accreditation body I used to work for, we had done some direct client visit. We were very shocked to realize that the certification body gives nothing to the client. Client does not have an agreement duly signed. The agreement is signed between you and the client. So you are obliged, because you are a signatory to it, you must have a copy of the client, the agreement. So insist on that. Audit plan for each audit, you are entitled to get. Audit team composition and audit plan, you are entitled to get in advance. So that you can, if you have any objection to the audit team, you can object. Non-conformities, written non-conformities, you are obliged to do. Some certification bodies at the end of the audit verbally tell, and they say the non-conformities will follow. Please ensure that the non-conformities follow. Audit report for each audit. Non-conformities is not the only audit report. There will be a summary report. There will be a detailed report about compliance to each clause of ISO 9001. If the assessment audit has happened against that requirement. So that you are entitled to. They may send it later, but insist on it. Certificate with all details like date of issue, expiry, scope, name and address, you are entitled. So these are the things you are entitled to. If your certification body is not giving you, please insist on it. Anyway, this is what I wanted to cover. If there are questions, will be taken now or after?
It will be at the end of the session. We'll take it at the end of the session.
End of the session. Fine. Thank you very much. Sorry if I overshot
No
the
problem,
time.
no problem, no problem. Thank you so much, Shobha ma'am, for the enlightening us about the obligations of the certification body and the certification process. Thank you so much. Can you close the screen share?
Yeah, I have stopped.
Thank you, thank you. Now we will move on to the next speaker, Mr. Anil Juari. He's going to talk about authenticity of a certificate. Okay. So let me introduce Mr. Anil Juari. Sir, can you please stop screen sharing?
Oh, okay.
I just introduced them.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So we have Mr. Anil Juari with us, who is ex-CEO of NABCB, National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies. He is a member of UNFCCC, CDM Accreditation Panel. He is a member of Yoga Certification Board, the chairman of SC, GCPS, and CDSA. He is a lead assessor in NABCB, the lead evaluator in the PAC, and he is an IAF evaluator also. He has been our motivator for since the beginning of CCC. Welcome, Mr. Anil.
Yeah.
Take over.
Yes, thank you very much, Srikantan. My subject is authenticity of ISO certificates. Shobha told you what do you expect from a CB, but I am going to tell you what kind of CB you should have in the first place, because there is a whole lot of mushrooming of certification bodies in the market, and all kinds of certificates are flying around, making our life very difficult in terms of recognizing what is a good certificate and what is not a good certificate. As you know, most of you know, ISO 9001 was published in 1987, and to my mind, it revolutionized the quality world in terms of how quality was managed. ISO 9001 certification, it is quite arguably the most popular certificate worldwide. ISO 9001 was followed by 14001 in 1996. After that, a number of management system standards have come. ISO 22000, 27001, 45001, 13485, etc. And this continue to grow. Asset management, anti-bribery, a whole lot of standards are coming in. Most reliable source of data currently is ISO surveys, because there is no one place where you can really get data. And the last survey was done in 2019, whose results are available. And you can go to the ISO website and actually look at these results. And here I have given you the number of certificates that were captured in that survey. For ISO 9001, 8,83,000 certificates around the world. ISO 14001, 3.12 lakhs. And this is 0.5% and 2% increase respectively since 2018 from previous year. So small growth is taking place. So the popularity of these standards is undoubted. They are very, very popular. That popularity only creates a problem. Now the question is, who certifies? I mean, all these certificates that have been issued, who certifies this? The answer shockingly is anyone can certify, because there is no law or no regulation not in India and not in most places around the world. You don't require a license or an authentication to issue ISO certificates or any kind of certificates for that matter, because many of you are familiar with GMP certificates, HACCP certificates. They are being issued by any private agency, and they just go around issuing certificates. So the fact is that there is no legal bar on anyone setting up a certification body. Tomorrow, if I decide to set up a certification body, I can set up. Day after tomorrow, you want to set up a certification body, you can set up a certification body. It can be proprietorship, it can be partnership, it can be society, it can be private or public limited, it can be profit or non-profit, it can be governmental or private or non-governmental, in any form. So the certification body can come up in any of these forms. All that you need is, as far as certification body is concerned, and unlike laboratory, which needs a lot of equipment, as a certification body, you have to invest nothing, no equipment, no technology, except that you need perhaps a laptop and IT tools. You need a room to operate from. You can operate from your home. You don't even need to have an office. We know of accreditation bodies and certification bodies which do not have an office and they operate virtually also. That's possible. So, so this is how certification bodies are. This I will skip. I saw Shobha has already explained to you what is certification and what are the kind of certification. So how do we distinguish an authentic certification body? Now, if it is governmental, you may have some confidence. I mean, we criticize the government for many things, but we still feel that if government has set up a certification body, it must be following some process. BIS, the national standards body, is a certification body. You can get ISO 9001 certificate from BIS also. There's under Ministry of Information Technology, there is something called STQC, which is also a certification body. It's limited to electrical, electronics, and IT areas. You can get a certificate from STQC also. It's accredited by NABCB. BIS is also accredited by NABCB. But if it's private, then how do you rely on it? You go by the name or brand. I mean, if Tatas have a certification body, you'll have more faith that, well, Tatas are known for ethical values, so certification body should be good. So actually, if you look around, the only recognized means today is accreditation. Certification body has to be accredited. And that's the only means of knowing that it's an authentic certification body. What is accreditation? I think Shobha had mentioned this, but I'll restate. Third-party attestation, you all understand, third-party means independent. Formal demonstration of competence. So we are talking about competence. Accreditation is all about competence. Many times I'm asked the difference between certification and accreditation. It's hard to explain, but accreditation is focused on competence to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. So as you can see, this is ISO 17,000 definition. Accreditation only applies to bodies which are carrying out conformity assessment. And what is conformity assessment? Testing is conformity assessment, so it applies to labs. NABL accredits labs. Inspection is conformity assessment, so it applies to inspection bodies. And certification is whether it's a product or process or management system certification or personal certification, it is conformity assessment. So you have to be clear when we are talking in ISO word, what are we talking about when we say accreditation? Because if you are from healthcare industry or from education field, accreditation is used in a different way. You have NAC and NBA and NABET, which are operating accreditation in education. And you have bodies like NABH or QAI or JCI, which are operating accreditation in healthcare. That accreditation is known in that field, but equivalent to ISO word, it would be actually certification. Because you directly go to the hospitals, you directly go to the educational institutions and accredit them, or what I would think is you certify them. Whereas accreditation in ISO word means that NABCB goes to the certification body and accredits it, does not go directly. You don't see NABCB coming to the industry directly and certifying. So that's the difference that you should remember if you are coming from these two sectors, if you are from education or from healthcare, that you don't mix up the healthcare accreditation and the accreditation of the kind that we are talking about. Now, who supervises certification? So much certification taking place, 8,83,000 certificates issued ISO 9000. Who is supervising all this certification? ISO? I mean, many people might think ISO does it. No, it doesn't. ISO is only a standard setting body. It has no role in certification at all. Fortunately, there is a body called International Accreditation Forum. This was established in 1993. And it is a global association of accreditation bodies. NABCB is member from India. That is the one which has taken on the responsibility of supervising the certification take place around the world, the entire management system certification. It has developed a system of evaluation of accreditation bodies through regional bodies. In India's case, it is Asia Pacific Accreditation Cooperation and what we call peer evaluation. So a team is set up by APAC, which comes to NABCB and evaluates NABCB. Or goes to the other accreditation bodies. For example, 3 weeks back, I evaluated the Gulf accreditation body. And there are standards. Fortunately, ISO has provided not only ISO 9001 for you as industry, but it has also provided ISO 17011 for accreditation bodies like NABCP. It has also provided ISO 17021 sorry, for management system certification process 1721 part 1 and various other parts for the competence of certification bodies. And IF has an MOU with ISO to rely on its standards. So IF system, although it's voluntary, please remember that IF is not obligatory. It's not obligatory for accreditation bodies to become member of IF. It's not obligatory for certification bodies to get accredited by an AB in IF system or outside. It's all voluntary. There's no legal requirement. Please remember that. It's all market driven, market demand. Yes, it's true that today a certification body will find it very hard to survive in the market if it's not accredited. But the fact is that it's not a legal requirement. It's a market driven requirement. So it's a voluntary system, but it provides an authentication. If you are part of this IF system, you are sure that you are in an authentic world. So how does this system operate? At the apex level, there are two international bodies. Incidentally, they have decided to merge. So by 2024, they may merge. At the regional level, we had two bodies, they merged, and now we have APAC from 1st January 2019. It's a specialist body of APAC, so it has some government endorsement. Similar regional bodies are there in Europe, in North and South America, in Africa, and Arabs have their own body called Arab Accreditation Corporation, and they are evaluated by IF, actually evaluated. I am currently evaluating Inter-American Accreditation Corporation, and next month I'll be part of a team evaluating Arab Accreditation Corporation. So I'm, as Srikantan said, I'm an IF evaluator also. So as you, I mean, we have this joke in our word saying that in God we trust, rest all have to show evidence. You can see that system is operating here. IF evaluates regional bodies evaluate accreditation bodies evaluate certification bodies evaluate the clients. So the whole system is under evaluation. And once you are evaluated, you can sign multilateral mutual recognition arrangement. MLAs, they are called in IF, MRAs in ILAC. So accreditation body like NABCB can become a signatory to the IF MLA for certification bodies. It is already is. This is a pictorial depiction. You can see from the top, IF ILAC at the top, regional bodies at the second level, individual accreditation bodies at third level, certification bodies, inspection bodies, and labs at the fourth level, and corresponding standards you can see on the right side. And the bottommost is whether the organization is getting certified or the product is getting certified or a person is getting certified. And here, if the standard is international, as you can see ISO 9001 or 14001, then you can claim international equivalence because same standard, same process, same kind of certification body, assessed to the same standard, by an accreditation body assessed to the same standard, by a regional body assessed to the same requirements. So the entire system gives you international equivalence, and it is actually, you may not realize in management systems as much, but as far as products are concerned, this free flow of product which takes place in EU or which takes place in ASEAN countries, in regional blocks, that is based on this kind of system, where a product is tested in an accredited lab, certified by a certification body which is accredited. Accreditation bodies are evaluated, and then these products are accepted because the product standard is common. Suppose it's electric iron and the product standard is common, the electric iron can move from one country to another without being tested. So this is how it is helping trade also. So now the risk that you face in certification is about how to make sure that you are with an authentic certification body, because there are unaccredited certification bodies who don't have any accreditation and they will issue a certificate. There will be no AB logo. That's one problem. There are certification bodies issuing certification against guidance standards, which is unacceptable, which will not be accredited. You can be sure, like ISO 31000 or Codex ASAP or ISO 10002. If they're hard selling certification to you, they are wrong because it cannot be certified. These standards are not for certification. They are again, misguiding customers. But the bigger problem we are facing in India is there are private accreditation bodies. I am talking now accreditation bodies, not certification bodies. There are private accreditation bodies which are outside IF system. They are not members of IF. They show their address in in Europe or USA, but they are unknown. And there are CBs who claim I am accredited by some global accreditation board in UK, and we don't know which that global accreditation board is. We have no knowledge of their credentials, and they are issuing certificates in the Indian market. So that is the biggest problem India has. Sorry, slightly throat is off. And unfortunately, the industry doesn't understand. The procurement agencies even understand even less. The purchase organizations, the government agencies, the ministries, and they're getting duped by such unauthentic certificates, I would say, even at times fraudulent certificates. If no audit is done in certificate issue, that's fraudulent certificate, certainly. So you should know what are the contents of a certificate. These are the things which should be there on your certificate. Name and address of the organization certified, the scope of your certification, a broad scope, and even a broad list of products that are covered even in management systems. The standard, for example, 9001 or 22,000, or even schemes. Sometimes there are management systems certification based schemes, for example, IATF or AS 9100. As I said, guidance standards are not available. Date of issue and expiry of certificate. Normally it's 3 years as per 1721. So it should be generally 3 years. An identification number of the certificate, name and address of the certification body, logo of the certification body, accreditation symbol of the accreditation body which has certified. So that's the AB logo on the certificate usually will tell you that you are holding an accredited certificate, and that would establish its international equivalence. And if it's coming from an IF MLS signatory, the certification bodies can issue you certificate with IF mark also. That is possible, and you should ask for it. You should ask your certification body that you want a certificate with IF mark. And then they will have to go to a AB, sign an agreement, AB which is MLA signatory, IF MLA signatory, sign an agreement, and then issue you such certificate. So you will get a certificate with IF mark. Now, some examples of a certificate that I was talking about. This is unaccredited certificate. A known certification body. I know the certification body, but as you can see, there is no logo of any accreditation bodies. This is unaccredited certificate. This is unknown. The certification body, some SMS claiming some accreditation. We don't know where it is. I don't know. Good looking certificate, but to me, not no value. Same thing here. Again, the accreditation body is unknown. We don't know which it is. It's not member of IAF. UCAS is the body in UK. So you do some UASL, some nearby name, similar sounding name, and you then cheat the client. GMP certificate without any mention of any standard. What standard it is? What GMP it is? We don't know. This is using simply saying HACCP without saying which standard, and Codex SAP is not certifiable. So again, an unauthentic certificate. Even QCI membership, they'll try to put the QCI membership and then mislead you into thinking that it is accredited. It's not actually. QCI membership cannot be put here. In fact, it's a misuse of QCI logo as well. So these are a variety of certificates that you find in the market. The real one is this one example. It has an NABCB logo. It has the number, the accreditation number given to it down below. It has the logo of the certification body, and it also has IF mark. So this is the IF mark that you should be looking at the certificate. If your certification body is accredited by NABCB or any other accreditation body which is IF MLA signatory for MDQMS or OHSMS 45,001 or 14,001 or 22,000, you should be able to get a certificate with IF mark, and that's what you should look at. So what would I suggest to you if you are going for certification, and you should not get cheated by all these certification bodies. The CB should be accredited, no doubt about that. Preferably in India. Frankly, we know the kind of problems Indian market has. So it's best it's safest to rely on NABCB accredited certification body. But in any case, it should be an AB whose name you can see on IF website. and it is an IF MLA signatory. Make sure that it's an MLA signatory so that you have an internationally equivalent certificate. I have given the name of IF website. Go there, and you can economy-wise in USA, India, Thailand, everywhere you can see which are the accreditation bodies members. You should make sure that the scope for which you are seeking certification, for example, you are in steel industry or you're in food industry, the certification body has that scope in its accreditation. Because I'll show you there are a number of scopes which certification body gets. Should have the accreditation body logo, preferably, as I said, NABCB logo. Now IF has created a global directory. It's still being updated, but you can search for your certificate here. If it's not there, don't think that your certificate is not valid, but until it becomes fully updated. If you have a doubt, you can always write to NABCB as the nearest accreditation body, or if you have a doubt about an accreditation body, you can write to that accreditation body. NABCB website name also I have given. Here are the lists on NABCB website. This is how you will see the list of certification bodies which are accredited. Numbers are given, the validity is given. So you can see this is in public domain. The link is given below. And these are the scopes. So the IF scope can be 03 for food, 20 for shipbuilding, 15 for non-metallic mineral products, 36 for public administration. So these scopes are part of a certification body scope. So certification body can be accredited for all these. There are 39 in all. This completely is not showing 39 scopes in all. So they can be all 39 scopes, or they can be only accredited for some 3 or 4 scopes. They are only accredited for metals and machinery and electrical 17, 18, 19, which is very common. So you should look at your certification body scope. What is it accredited for? For any of you who are from buyers side, there is also some guidance on tenders available on NABCB website. So you can go there and look at this guidance so that you don't get cheated using certification bodies which are not genuine. So thank you very much. I hope that brings some new information to you and some more clarity on what accreditation can do, how you can get to a good certification body and don't get cheated by all kinds of certificates which are in the market. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions later on.
Thank you, Mr. Anil Tiwari. Thank you for our fight against fake certifications, and thank you for bringing in light about what is an accredited certification. Thank you so much. And our next speaker would be next speaker is Mr. Giridharan. He is from CCC. He is a treasurer of Consultant Consortium of Chennai. And his company name is Best Resources. And he is a board member, chartered member of CCC. He is a management system consultant and trainer since 2004. He has 2 decades of experience before becoming as a consultant. He has helped more than 100 plus organizations in implementing various management systems like 9,000, 14,000, 18,000, now 45,000, 50,000, and lean manufacturing in India and abroad. Welcome, Mr. Giridharan. Please take over.
Thank you, Srikandan, sir. Just a moment, I share my screen. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to this special awareness session conducted by the CCC. I am Giridharan, as introduced by Mr. Srikandan. I am the founder. I am one of the founder member and currently treasurer of the CCC. I am just here to share my thought on the role of management system consultant to guide the industry to obtain the Authenticate certificate. Let me see who is the consultant. Consultant is a professional. I underline the word professional. Professional is a person who always helps their customer, not cheat their customer. So a consultant is a professional who provides expert advice. You are chosen to give knowledge sharing. You have to give the expert advice in particular area like management system consulting, regulatory compliances, education, business, marketing, finance. So many areas of consulting options are there. The ultimate aim is to add value to their customer. So you are a professional and you are an expert and you are there to add value to your customer. So this is just basic information about a consultant. What is the benefits of a management system consulting? You are helping the organization for implementing the requirements. These standards are not easily developed. They took 5 to 7 years time to develop a standard. To that extent, they are working a lot, gaining experiences, pulling upon the knowledge, experiences, and based on that, they develop the standard. So you are there to implement the requirements of the standard requirements. And the making the organization improvement in terms of quality, profitability, yes, of course, that is the key and purpose, not the certification. You are there to improve the organization. And you are there to provide knowledge enhancement to the customer and help to get the authenticated certificate for the customer. Why management system consultant is preferred to have a more roles. ISO is not going to spend a single hour with the customer, and there is no direct contact. ISO just develop the standards, sell the standards, and ISO very clearly indicated that there is no ISO certification. You have to mention it ISO 9001 certificate company, not ISO certified company. So I have seen in the market a lot of consultants playing with the customers, cheating the customers that they are sending the reports to ISO, something is not happening, ISO will come and cancel the certificate, blah, blah, blah. So many bad experiences I have gained from the market. No way ISO is going to come to the market and see one by one customers. They will never. They just develop the standard, sell the standard, that's all. And the second role played by the accreditation bodies. Of course, accreditation bodies are having very, 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 very rare situation. They could come and see a customer on a witness audit. Only on a witness audit only, an accreditation body auditor can come and see the customer. Of course, they are not going to add any value there. They want to ensure that the certification body is working properly. They did the audit properly or not. They are going to verify the customer only. And certification body auditors only spend 1 or few days per annum on meeting the customer. Of course, they share some knowledge, some ideas to the customer. And customers strongly believe that the certification body auditors are the ambassador of the God. So whatever we train the customer, it all get vanished on the presence of a certification body auditor. So whatever the auditor says, it is taken as a law. And they are considered as the ambassador of the God. And we consultant, we would spend at least minimum 15 to 20 man days for an organization and meet the customer, top management, etc. So we are having a close associate with the customer, and we can do a lot of things. Consultant are in the best position to educate and influence the customer. So utilize that opportunity. So fortunately, you are the best to educate the customer. So try to do the customer, share the information to the customer, be open, don't hide the things, because everything, whatever you are going to share is available in the net. If you are not going to share, somebody is going to share, or otherwise customer himself can search it from the internet. So don't believe that by hiding something you are an intellectual man. No, today is to what extent you are transparent in this kind of consulting, then you will be considered as a very good person in doing the consulting activity. How to search an authenticate certificate? Yes, IAF has given a website in where you can go and search the accredited certificate. And of course, IQNet recently has launched the web page where you can check the authenticated certificate. There are two web pages available today to see the who are the customers, who are the authenticated certificate customers. You can see the verified thing. And eventually you can see that those who are overnight runners, instant certificate producers, digital printers, they are also maintaining Pakka website and they maintain the customer name also. Systematically, they are doing the fraudulent activity. So don't be a victim of those websites. Always believe the IAF and the IQNet certification page. ISO and the IAF. Whatever I am showing is I have taken from the ISO web page only. On my personal capacity, I have written mail to Secretariat of ISO asking for the memorandum of understanding and all the details. And the Secretariat has given a detailed reply stating that they cannot share the memorandum of understanding, but they have given some guidelines as how to identify and the authenticated certification body and all the things. From their web page, I have chosen this. So ISO does not perform any certification. And while choosing a certification body, evaluate the certification body whether they are relevant to CASCO certificate standards. That is compliance verification, all the things. Whether the certification body is qualified for the 17,011 or something like that. And whether they check whether they got accreditation. And ISO is very clear to say that accreditation is not compulsory. The non-accreditation does not necessarily mean that it is not a reputable. It is a very open and bare statement. And very few consultants have strong arguments with me how ISO can told like this. Because ISO is very clear and open that accreditation is not compulsory. But it does provide independent confirmation of the competence of the certification body. So somebody should be there to evaluate the certification body. There comes the role of the accreditation body. And Madam very clearly told that anyone can start a certification body. Anil sir also told that anyone can start a certification body, even an individual society or a limited company. Whoever is to join, they can start a certification body. No rules, no restriction, nothing. So, who is going to monitor the certification body is the question. There comes the accreditation body. And ISO suggests that check the accreditation body whether they have a member of the IAF. You can check the authentication of the certification body. To what extent they are reliable. Go and visit the IAF website because ISO has an MOM with the IAF recognizing only IAF is their accreditation body. International organizations in cooperation with ISO for accreditation. Again, they are mentioning that IAF is the World Association of Conformity Accreditation Body and other bodies interested in conformity assessment in the field of management system. Very clearly, they were given that the management system accreditation, they rely on the IAF only. So ISO website itself they have given, and you can show it to the customers. You can go to the customer and any doubts that normally you will be encountering situations. I have encountered many situations, many customers asking that, many customers saying that ISO certification can be obtained within 2 or 3 days. They are charging only 2,000, 3,000 rupees, and you are charging some 50,000, 20,000, 60,000, and you are taking 3 months time, 4 months time to get the certification. I am getting three days certification, something like that. So at the situation, you have to explain the customer what is an ISO certification, what is an unauthenticated certification, what is authenticated certification, benefits of the authenticated certification, all the things you have to explain the customer. And of course, few customers are accepting that, but many customers, half-minded only, they are accepting. Sir, you are telling something and you are in the profession for a long time, we are believing you, sir. Please ensure that we are getting a valid certificate. Of course, customers will be like that. We cannot expect the customer to be the master in all the subjects, but still our role has to educate the customer on a continued basis. Never hesitate to educate the customer. Someday, sometime, somebody will be exchanging the whatever we are told. Somebody will be exchanging the same message to the customer. At the time, the customer start to believe. So, whatever you told on the day, it is correct, sir. They will again and the confidence on you will be increasing. So supporting unauthenticated certificate, you may get your quick money. Just in few days, you may earn 5,000, 10,000 rupees. Very quickly, you may get the money. You may get good volume of business. Even I have seen in Chennai, few consultants are doing this kind of supporting activity and they are getting more than 100 customers per year. 100 customers easily per year, something more than that. And what you are doing is a mercy killing of your profession. Don't forget this word. I'm putting this strong word. You are doing a mercy killing of your profession. But you will not survive in the consulting profession for a long time as the CVs will run away from the thought. And whatever the CVs you are supporting, these unauthenticated CVs, they will not survive for a long time. Very shortly, they will swindle them, they make money and they run away from the market. And finally, the reliability and goodwill of you will be lost. So that is the most important thing. So whatever the reliability you have built on the goodwill you have developed is all lost because of this unauthenticated certificate. And in the market, many customers are getting good professional support from the good consultant and they are paying good amount of money. So whatever the money you are getting from the cheap certificate, something better money you are getting for providing a good support. So always go for supporting the authenticated certificate. And of course, there are some benefits of unauthenticated certificates. Colorful displays in the office as you can get multiple certificates. You name it, they will print it and give it to you. Colorful displays like God pictures, you can show 10 to 15 ISO certificates. Whether it is applicable to you or not, whatever may be, they are ready to pay the certificate to you. Just pay the money and you will get the certificate. So colorful displays, you can get it across. And you will be the center of attraction as the visitors will laugh on your unawareness. And the people related to this business, when they come to your office, they will be laughing actually. And this unauthenticated certificate is less expensive. Today, even for 1,000 rupees, you can get the certificate. But it is very costly to lose orders and customers. And I came across few corporate companies, they are insisting on this NABC accreditation or IAF members accreditation. Few government tenders, they are now started to insist on the NABC accreditation. Without their knowledge, they are copying it from actually some other government tender details. Just they are copying. If somebody started to mention that NABC accreditation is more important, they just replicate in their tender talk. What is the NABC? They doesn't know. But they are saying that are you NABC accredited? At least to that extent, things are started to working on. So unauthenticated certificate, yes, it is very cheap and less expensive, but costly to lose orders and the customers. Unauthenticated certificates are like babies born in few days and non-conceived. And they got few days born babies will be has no value, no life, and it is painful for the parents. In the same way, unauthenticated certificate is also having no value, no life. It is painful for the customer. A normal baby requires 9+ months for the growth and to come out to the world for a long life. The same way, authenticated certificate needs time for implementation and maturity. As a consultant, you have to educate this thing to the customer. Certificate is not an instant certificate. You have to deploy the good practices as given by the ISO standards or whatever the standards. It is consists of good practices for the organization. ISO 9001, you can take total around some 30 points are there. 30 points means 30 good practices for the organization. That is going to help them to develop their business, to run their business for a long time. This kind of education is compulsory from the consultant perspective. So what to do? Learn and educate the customers. So continuous learning for the consultant is more important. You have to regularly visit the IA website, ISO website, and other accreditation body website. Whatever the new thing came across, learn it and share it to your customers. And I came across few consultants regularly dropping mails to the customers about the latest updates in the ISO certification, accreditation, all the things. Business going by shortcuts will earn quick money, but they won't survive for a long period. This is a well-known fact. Whatever the shortcuts you try to make the money, it won't remain for a long period. Customers will came across and you will be out of the market, and add value to the customer by sharing knowledge. Because of the good impression, whatever you are making, customers will bring customers to you. And I am in this consulting business from the 2004 onwards, almost 17 years. And 99% of my business came referred by an existing customer only. Existing customer only bring me a new customer. I have not taken much effort for marketing. So in one way or the other ways, I am getting the reference by the existing customer. So continue your good work all the time as a stand role model for the word consultant. When you try to prove that you are the real consultant, customers will appreciate you, customers will bring new business, customers will continue their loyalty. So this is the words I want to share. As a consultant, what are the roles of you to educate the customer in getting this in avoiding this unauthenticated certificate, and always go for the authenticated certificate. All the best. Thank you all. Any doubts you can ask.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan, for the wonderful presentation on what is the role of consultant on eradicating these unauthentic certificates. Thank you so much. It's an open house session now for any question and answers. If some of you wanted to take this presentation, we will share you the link of the YouTube recording, so you can access on YouTube. We'll send you the link shortly to all the registered participants. Any other questions you have? Please feel unmute yourself and you can ask for questions.
Is there a way to become a member of CCC even if the consultant is based out of Bangalore?
What consultant you are talking about?
I'm an ISO consultant. I'm
So
actually an ISO.
we have members from Bangalore itself. This CCC is for South India.
South India. All right. So what is the process?
Sorry. You have to visit our website. In that you have a membership do's and don'ts. So just go through the membership link, and then there is an application form which you have to fill it up and then send it to the mail ID mentioned there, and we will take it up, sir.
One more question to the speakers, basically. You have actually told or informed us saying that we can actually register ourselves as certifying bodies. Now, the process here is a little difficult when it comes to having it done through a nationalized organization, or is it very simple? What is the process over there?
Is it for the membership?
No. He's asking about certification body.
Certification bodies. Okay. Maybe we can ask Shobha ma'am or Rasa to answer. One of them can answer.
Yeah, sure. If you want to make a certification body, you establish a legal entity and have a charter of certification, and you can start a certification body. You can create a private limited company. You can create an LLP. Proprietorship and partnership I would not recommend, because when you go for accreditation, a legal entity definition does not cover the proprietorship and partnership companies. So it's better to have an LLP or a private limited company or a society or a trust, and set up with a memorandum association. We'll go under Companies Act or whichever act is there, under Companies Act or under Societies Act or under Indian Trust Act or whatever, and that's it.
That's it. All we have to do is probably go through the NABC.
No, first is to register a company which will do certification. Register a company under Companies Act as a profit-making company or a non-profit, Section 8, whatever it's called, or under as a society if you want to create a society, or a trust if you want to create a trust, or LLP. So that's the first step. Second step is going for accreditation. That's when you would think of NABCB. But to set up a certification body, all you need is to register a company or a trust or a society.
Perfect, sir. Okay.
And it should not do certain things. That is 1721, which will tell you that you should not be into consulting, you should not do internal audit. So your charter should be clear that it's into certification, it will not do anything which is conflicting with certification.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Anil.
You're
Is there a
right.
way that we can get the speakers' numbers that we can get stay
You
in
can
virtual?
try to contact at CCC. You see the
Yeah, you
chat
can
box.
Yeah, I saw
See
that.
the chat box. You can write the
Yeah.
mail ID. We will connect you.
All right, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one question. My name is Manish. I am calling from TransAsia Biomedicals.
Okay.
So suppose we would like to check the authenticity of a certifying body which is located in India. So whether it should be accredited to NABCB, or if it is not there also it can be authentic.
It can be authentic if it is accredited by NABCB or any other IF member body, which is either IF member or preferably IF MLA signatory.
Oh, so
But
not necessarily NABCB, but maybe
yes,
some American or any body.
But if you are in medical devices field by any chance, I don't know which field you are.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
If you are in medical devices, then please be aware that CDSCO is notifying bodies now, which are based on NABCB accreditation. So if I was you, I would go to a notified body because it will meet my requirements in terms of if it wants to audit me for CDSCO process, it can do that. It can give me 713485 certificate also. So I would for the ease of very variety of certificates, I would go to.
Absolutely. So they notified
notified body automatically would be NABCB accredited anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Srikantan, this is Dilip Negi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Dilip Negi from International Certification Bodies. First of all, I thank you for taking this initiative that you have made our task easy by organizing such programs.
Yeah.
And good crowd is there, and we have the renowned speaker today.
Yeah.
The thing is that, sir, can we become the member and certification body can become the member of your consortium?
Yes, boss. It is allowed. It's permitted.
Yes.
You can write to us. You can become a member of our association. You are most welcome.
Fine, fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So we can work together in this.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, I'll come back.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, you can also write to us, email us at contact@ccc-consultants.org. We will be glad to help you with all your queries. And, shall we close the session? Okay, I would like to thank the guest speakers of today, Mr. Shobha Madam, Mr. Anil Chuar sir, and Mr. Giridharan, for giving a wonderful presentation and insight into the certification process and unauthentic certificates. On behalf of CCC, we thank all the speakers. We thank all the participants who spent their valuable time with us, and we would be glad to help you. In case of further queries, you can visit us. We have given the email IDs in the chat box. You can write to us and we can help you out. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.